Hello, Commanders, and welcome to the RNG Endgame, a podcast about the game Marvel Strike Force. Your hosts are Frid and Creative. We're leaders in an alliance from a large cluster, and would like to share our insights with you to hopefully improve your gameplay and overall experience, and give you a little entertainment.
All right, Creative, we're back. After 1 week off, back on the airwaves for a new episode. Episode 58. And of course, we are going to start with what this show is about. Gearing and leveling, also known as I review my roster with you. So, let's see. I started or continued my DD4 journey, if you want to call it that. And I added the Minerva to my Cosmic team. And that made a difference that was huge. So I was 4 characters, trudging through the second node. And once I added Minerva, it dramatically increased. I saw an increase, almost tripling of the damage. So I was doing like 4 to 5 million, and it went to 13 million. Part of that is having a whole 5th character, but also it's Minerva that does that 15% and keeps your team alive. So, I completed that one in 9 attempts, adding Minerva in the middle. And the last node took me 8 attempts. So, 5 on the first one with 4 characters, 9 on the second one, part with 4, then 5, and 8 on the last one. So, not too bad. And Cosmic is in the books. And then I moved on to City. City, I did not ever get enough Superior 13s to do Night Nurse. That Oz material that you have like 200 of, and I have not enough. I don't get it, so I've seen maybe 4, and I need 20 or something like that. So Night Nurse is not ready, and I'm not paying 15, 20, whatever it is they sell 10 for. So I'm just gonna wait to eventually get these. There is no way to get them directly. You just gotta be lucky from an orb or from the store. So I reluctantly decided to upgrade Punisher instead. I'm like, what is now? Quintupling down on the skill military team. That still doesn't work. So now Punisher is tier 15. And he's programming away Creative that when he hits the battlefield, he dies. So he goes away. And the 3 symbiotes continue the node. I joke, right? But he's super flimsy. He gets killed. He takes maybe 1 turn and then goes away. So he's just there so that you can enter the node, because he really doesn't do that much. And the 3 symbiotes, Scream, Symbiote Spider-Man, and Anti-Venom, are the ones that kind of carry the weight here. So I one-shot the first city node, did 2 shots on the second node. Could have probably done it at 1, but whatever. What's the rush? And now I'm in one of the nodes of Doom, which is the City 3, also known as node number 12, which is a nightmare. I do 1 million and die. A lot of the, SSM gets, 1 shot. And I finally got the 7th start on him. So he's 6 reds. He gets 1 shot by, Rocket or something like that. So yeah, it's very painful. One time I did 100,000 damage. I didn't quit because you gotta get some RNG, and I didn't quit quickly enough, so it was ridiculous. I'm getting closer to, I think, the point where you can at least make some progress, because you killed Jessica Jones, who does the clans, and maybe the debuffs help you get through the first wave. And then some new characters drop, and once you kill 2 or 3, then comes another pain wave that will be kind of similar to this experience. So I've heard people that this takes 20, 25, 30 tries. So
Good grief. Oof.
With that in mind, I have one of my conundrums again. Since Night Nurse is not happening, even though I have all the other materials, even after Punisher, I have the 15s I need. But those Oz are never going to show. I am wondering if I should bring a 5th character, right, to this mix. Now, there's some cheap options like Mark Lieutenant and stuff like that, but I don't know that I want to do that. So I'm looking at a symbiote. Now, there are two, Carnage and Venom. And Venom is very expensive at 72. Carnage is just 54 of the each of the tier 15 uniques. But that's a competition against Invisible Woman. So, question here is, do I make this less painful now? Getting a great character to 15, I mean, he will help with Doom Raids and the like. Or just be patient and do that later after I complete DD4 and just have Invisible Woman ready for when in 20 days or whatever it is I get to that point. What I'm afraid of is that in 20 days I have enough for both and I'm like, oh, well, maybe I could have just done this earlier and benefited from Carnage. Just for perspective, you need 108 of the materials each, and I have 83 and 73 right now. So I don't know if that makes sense, but will in 20 days I have picked up the remaining like 30 of each of these and then be kicking myself? Or if I finish sooner, then I'll be short anyway. So it's like a no-win situation, right? There is an optimal point somewhere, but I don't see it. So what do you think of this? Carnage follows our principle. It's a character that we use every day in raids. We love raids. He does work as is, but a better Carnage is a better Carnage, right? There's nothing wrong with that. So, any thoughts on this little conundrum here?
I just feel like while we're getting some events and getting extra T15s at any point, they can just cut that flow off, and then you're going to be stuck.
Mm-hmm.
I would just keep going probably as is, and if you happen to get more, great. But, because I was still looking at maybe not even doing Invisible Woman because she's cheap, but doing Black Bolt. So for me, I'm just going to do the 3 symbiotes and just slog through it, I think.
So, is this Black Bolt a raid arena play that you're thinking?
Yeah, definitely arena play. So there's a lot of stuff going out there right now. And now my shard is taken over by Dooms. I think I've got like 5+. And I've seen some videos that the speed up that Doom gives it to Black Bolt, and you basically can just wipe teams.
It's like 6 turns in a row or something.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Nobody can survive that right now. You've always been in a whaley shard because I have about maybe less. The arena shard, I mean. There's like maybe 3 Dooms floating around. I think mine are more just grinders and free to play or light spenders. And you have your original whale that seems to still be whaling 2 years in. So
yep,
that's unfortunate. But you hang in there until you get your own Doom, I guess. Right. It's gonna be a few months of pain, I guess. But that's a good way to prepare with the counter that we know. That Black Bolt thing. But then, these whales are going to have surfers at 5 and 6, right? Because they keep buying the offers that keep coming.
Yep.
So
yeah, they all have at least 5 already.
Oh, my God.
That's just ridiculous.
I have my 3 just limping with him. He's incredible, though, in RTA and stuff. It's ridiculous. But anyway, digress. Okay, well, I think you're right. I think there's no need to rush anyway. It's like we said, one way or the other, you're gonna be stopped. He's not helping me in arena, so that's not a consideration. Like if it gave me cores, then I may say, "Oh, forget it. I'll pull the trigger on it right now." But he doesn't. So if I get desperate and we do more Doom raids or something, then maybe. But for now, I think I'm just gonna sit tight then, and maybe get lucky with the rainbows and those blue things, whatever they're called. I did eventually decide to upgrade Ebony Maw right now because of arena and raids. So he is tier 15 and ready to go. I have 2 legendary characters now, Doc Ock and Ebony Maw. So 1 mutant and 1 bio to go. we'll see what happens depending on what I get. Am I gonna go Phoenix or Jubilee? Or am I gonna go Black Bolt or Invisible Woman? I guess you'll have to keep listening to find out what I end up doing. But for now, Node of Doom for a little bit. And then a quick thing on Red Stars. There's been 2 new characters that were in the orb. I don't know that we've talked about it, but I did get a 5 reds on Multiple Man and a 4 on Polaris. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, about Polaris. But that's kind of my update. Creative, what have you been up to?
Well, real quick on your multiple man, are you doing the 8 refreshes on the campaign?
I am. I'm sure I am. And my cores are vanishing like there's no... They're going out of style. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing the same. I have a feeling we're not going to get there. We'll see.
Oh, really? You think it's rigged?
I do. Okay. Every time I've gone for it, I never get it.
That's my domino experience, and I am feeling it right now, but there's still some time, so let's see what happens.
Yeah, so I've been spending cores like crazy. I think I got up to 16,000 not that long ago. I spent a good 5K on Polaris to unlock her early, and she's going to be the next character in the Strike Pass, which means we'll only get 2 yellow stars. So this will give me a 3 yellow star character, which is just still horrendous. And then I've been doing all the cores for Multiple Man. So I think I'm down to 8,000 now. So it's saying goodbye to those pretty quickly. The primary thing from a gearing and leveling perspective is I've been focusing on the Doom raid. I've been struggling quite a bit. My strike team has actually just been going all down the middle. So just the 2 lanes in the middle. And we finish it, but it takes kind of everybody getting through the boss nodes. And some of those boss nodes are just ridiculous. So I'm raising all of my Mystic Tech and Bio a little bit higher to hopefully help with that. I still come out pretty high in the damage, but it feels like any day I could just completely wipe and have to start spinning cores for that. So Doom is definitely paramount in what I'm focusing on. And secondarily, looking at DD4, I have finished Global, and I'm agonizing over Cosmic.
What's the agony?
Well, I have enough to do Minerva. Sorry, not Minerva. I have enough to do Hella already, and probably get going. I could do Hella and say Long Shot and get going, but it just when you start adding up that you would need Mystic for Surfer, for Doom, and for Ebony Maw. I'm going to be out, and Hella's just too darn expensive. So I basically am going to have to wait to get another 30 plus tech mats for Minerva, and I'll probably take her and who was the other one? Maybe Long Shot, I think. But it's just this is a bad situation. This RNG fest that we have, forcing us to kind of make choices on characters and not being able to buy these currencies directly is just very, very frustrating. From a city perspective, I'm good. I've had Oz formulas forever, and so I just need to bring Scream up. I have Symbiote Spider-Man and Anti-Venom, and I will bring Night Nurse up. And all those will help with Doom Raid as well. And then for Legendary...
I think, just a quick thing, I think I mentioned here, and I know how much you like Scream, but I noticed the difference when I brought her to 15. Not sure if I mentioned that before, but... yours has better stars and stuff, but she is cheap, to bring up, and she's still kind of squishy, but I mean, she does a ton of utility and damage, and the flipping of buffs, and she can get through stealth. I mean, it's an amazing character all around.
Yeah,
totally. That's a no-brainer there. But we'll talk about her a little bit more in the news section.
Yeah, mine is I don't know what it is, at least 5 red stars, if not 6. And she's getting 1 shot in alpha difficulty 3. So I'm hoping that these increases also help with the Greek raids. What else? So I'm going to basically just play the waiting game, get Min up, and by that point I probably will have Surfer. So I'll probably just do Min and Surfer instead of Long Shot. So we'll see. It's just not a positive experience, to say the least. Yeah, so I think that's really it for me from a gearing and leveling perspective. So, Frid, why don't we switch gears and talk about these events that are going on?
Yes, so long awaited, maybe not awaited, but long announced, the Falcon and Winter Soldier event. Not sure if there's a tie-in with the show, definitely on TV. I've been enjoying that. I don't know if you're watching it, but I've had fun watching the TV show.
Yep.
So there's basically there's two things with the event, right? There is a campaign style section that has its own energy, right? So it's just a new energy that we need to deal with. However, so that's, I'll get into that. So energy, and then there's a milestone, and it's just one. So at least that part is a little bit simpler. There's no confusing orbs or anything else to deal with. It's just energy on a campaign and a milestone. One good thing they did on the campaign was if you fail the attempt, you don't lose the energy. So I did not know that. And if you're trying for that 3-star, it's like a challenge instead of a normal campaign. So you can try, and it doesn't cost you the energy, which is a good thing they did there. Okay, so you could the energy cap is 90, and each of these attempts costs 9. Okay, so that means if you have max energy, you can do all 10 attacks on a particular node. There's 3 levels of nodes, right? The easy, medium, and hard. And there was a lot of fear because they said you needed all the characters at level 75, like 4 red stars, ISO level, whatever, all this stuff. But I think, as per usual with this, they overinflate that stuff. And I'm hearing you can do the hardest node with like less than 200k teams, as long as Baron Zemo is the key. Apparently he can blow up the node. I had a bigger team. My Cap America is 13. Winter Soldier is not, but he's pretty decent and has 5 red stars. And of course I have a T15 Zemo. So I really didn't have any problems with the hard node. But I hear that you don't need that much. And Zemo is worth upgraded anyway. So that's a good thing, that you don't have to worry about having like Winter Soldier tier 15, because that would make no sense. Or 14 or whatever they said. Okay, so what you want to do then, if you're in the end game, is that last node. The rewards are variable, and we don't have percentages like we normally do in an orb. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can get. So it's hard to tell what we're getting out of this by running it. But it's a lot of orange gear, and then there's armory 14 shards, and there's armory 15 shards. So the rewards are fairly decent for something extra. Okay, so how do you gain energy? It's just by time, but it's 1 point every 48 minutes, which works to about 30 energy for a 24-hour period, right? So you need 90, right, to complete it. So where is this other 60 gonna come from? Well, that's from the Honor the Shield milestone, which actually, if you complete it, provides 120 energy over 2 days. And we'll talk about how to get the milestones in a second. So anyway, that means then with the 30 that you get naturally and the milestones, you should have 90 to do the hard node completely, if you time it all right, okay? There is a way to refresh the energy, but it costs 250 cores for the 90 energy, which to me sounds very high, but again, it's hard to tell because the rewards are kind of variable, so I don't know if it's worth it. On the surface, to me, that sounds expensive, right? For 90 energy, but I would have to, I didn't think about this until now, equated to how much we get 24 hours of the regular campaign, and what would that be in cores? It's probably about the same. The thing is, I don't know if the rewards in here are worth it. I mean, that's a lot of cores. And you would have to refresh the node to run it again. So this would be if you don't want to deal with the milestones at all. You don't want to do it. You could use cores to get there. Again, the biggest thing that I think everybody's going after is the Armory 15 shards. And I ran 5 or 6 and didn't get a single drop, of course. I got all the 14s this morning, so I wasn't happy about that. But I did get some the first time I did it. Remember, those give you 4 of those T15s. And I think it's 600 max or 400 per run. It's something like that. So you need kind of to get lucky on these nodes to get enough. The event runs for 8 days. So that's another thing. All right, so to summarize all that I said, because I said a lot, is you can complete the hard node every day of the event for the 8 days and just claim half of the milestones on the first day because the milestones runs for 2 days. And then the second half on the second day, that should give you 90 energy on both days so that you can complete it twice over 2 days without having to spend any cores or refreshes. Okay, so we've talked about the milestones. How do you get the points? Well, there are 3 ways, but it's all around using these characters. The featured characters, which are Baron Zemo, Winter Soldier, Falcon, and Captain America. So those 4 characters, the way you use them, help you get these points. Okay? What I'm going to describe to you for simplification, because they added some extra little points for if you had characters at 5 stars and T13. But I did it based on my roster, which is maybe higher than typical. But just to give you a sense, you have all 4 characters at 5 stars and 2 of them at T13, assuming Zemo is already T13 and maybe Captain and or Falcon, you have him at 13. Mine is Captain America. So anyway, that's the assumption here. The total points for this event is, or this milestone, is 2,100 points that you need to complete all of them over 2 days. And we're assuming it resets and it is the same, but we don't know that yet for sure. That's how it's always been, but they could change it. But we're assuming it's the same. Okay, and then raids give you a flat 20 per attack, regardless of characters. There's no requirement to use these 4 guys, so that's good. So I'm assuming we do 8 attacks for the 2 raids. And over 2 days, that equates to 640 points, okay? There is a war attack bonus for using these characters. It equates to about 100 points if you have Zemo and Winter Soldier and Falcon on offense. Most people have Captain America on defense, so that won't give you anything. Some people won't attack with Winter Soldier, so that's something to keep in mind. But let's call that 100 points. That means that there's another 1360 that you need to go get. And creative, what would they normally do when there's additional points you need for any of these milestones? What do you have to do?
What would that be? I don't know. Blitzing, maybe? Yeah.
Yep, it's always they go back to the well and say you got to blitz. Now, it is not full cycles with your whole roster. All you need to do is with the featured characters. But you do have to, I think you have to win these for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
One thing to consider if there's a Mr. Sinister blitz going on right now. I know a lot of people that want those shards. I thankfully don't need them, but I know Frid, the veteran that has Sinister, blah blah blah. But I thought it was full cycles when I first saw it, but then I realized, I don't need to do that. I can tank and just use these 4 guys and get the points on a low level. So what this means, though, is you get 70 points by using the team I described. It could be less if you have less stars and or gear. You need to do 20 cycles over 2 days with these 4 characters. Cycles meaning wins with them. Now, you can only do 8 for free, right? Because they cap the energy. So the only way is you have to spend the 25 blitz charges on each of them for 2 extra matches a day. So that's 400 blitz charges that you have to use so that you can maximize it. That also means that you did not miss a single, 2-hour window on the 24 hours, to do it 8 times with those characters. So I recommend you do a timer. It's super quick. You can make a dummy team with the 4 if you want to do it that way, or just remember when you're cycling to start with them at the lower level, maybe tier 6 or 7, to make sure that you get the wins so that you don't lose out on these points, because there's not margin for error here with these guys. And that would get you the max. I think I messed this up and I may not be able to get it. So you can always spend more charges on those guys to get to the max. Anyway, that's that. So what are you... and then again, if you have lower characters, then you have to do even more blitzing. What do you think of this? I thought it also scaled up towards the bottom. It gets harder and harder to get the last few milestones. So I think the first half would be very attainable. It's the second half where it starts getting a little bit tough. So anyway, what do you think of this milestone here?
Free stuff is free stuff. So we both have a T15 Zemo that cleared it for us, and then just doing a handful of blitzes is nice, but it just shocks me how needlessly complicated this is. I mean, there's so much variability that we can't even give people solid answers because we don't know if they have a 5 yellow star or 3 yellow star or what. So it's overly complicated, but it's free stuff, so we're going to take advantage.
Yeah, I told you about this mishap I had where... because I do things kind of in autopilot. I was refreshing a focus, superior focus. You need 1 million of those, so I always farm them. And they can be part of this Falcon campaign, so when you go do the find button, I know you go directly to nodes, but I always use the find button. You see all the offers, all the stores, and then the first node used to be one that I always farm automatically. It's a regular campaign node. Well, now it's a Falcon and Winter Soldier node. And I was clicking and I saw, I need to refresh, and didn't pay attention. And I refreshed the energy at the 250.
Yeah.
And because I had already completed it, I then had to spend another 50 cores to be able to do it again. So I did that and I got some 15, so not too much complaining, but it did hurt a little bit because I need to pay more attention as I go through it. And I don't know if it's worth it. Somebody hopefully has accumulated any kind of data and can say whether it makes sense to refresh. Because if it does for the 15s, it's better value than maybe refreshing the store or something like that, then maybe it's worth it. But it's hard for me to see if that's the case. It's very hard to tell.
Yep.
All right, well, yeah,
we're wrapped in a puzzle.
Yeah, I think though, if you have a lower team or you're in the mid game, the rewards are decent in the middle too. It's just having to do all this again just to be able to complete these things is overly complicated, and it does require you to pay a lot of attention, right? And log in every 2 hours and all that stuff. We can't get away from that.
No. Okay. Well, thank you for those numbers. I know it was very confusing to put together, much less tell everybody. So thank you for that. Okay. Well, let's switch gears and talk about the news. And boy, were there a lot of discussion in and around an article that came out from gamesindustry.biz. And it talked about the Scopely acquisition of Foxnest led to a boundless opportunity. And literally, they're calling themselves boundless now. This article was a very interesting read on a lot of levels. First and foremost, they actually came out and said how much revenue they made in 2020, which was $300 million. Let me say that again, $300 million.
Yeah, and, the guys that follow this, like Tony Scungili and OMG, they use a website that apparently tries to estimate it. Mm-hmm. And they thought, based on those metrics, it was like 220, 240 maybe million. So look at this. I mean, they're blowing those estimates out of the water. Again, it's all estimated, but compared to even Galaxy of Heroes, this is a lot more for this point in the game. So, I mean, They are raking it in.
So, that naturally has a reaction to me of, one, I don't understand how they're making that much money because I don't spend, but also, if they're making that much money, why can't they hire people and deliver a quality product? I mean, I still contend that we're on a very precipice edge here, that things could go south pretty quick, and all the decisions that they're making continue to reinforce that they only want you to spend. They only care about spenders. So this was a really bad view for me. This article coming out and how they talked about how great they were, and the experience that we have is fundamentally different. So it definitely wrinkled me a bit. What about you, Fred?
Yeah, I mean, my initial reaction wasn't to go there because I know how you've been feeling about the game, and I was shocked about how much money they're making, and then that led to that inevitable conclusion of, well, wait a minute, this is blowing your own expectations probably about what you should be making. So where's the quality? And I guess when you are making that kind of money, you can have that blind spot, right? Because something must be working if people are spending, right? But if you have a product that, we talked about the PhDs and how it works in the brain center and all that. That's not good. It's akin to gambling or some kind of addiction, which is not a good place to be. It's hard to resist. I mean, we've all have that urge to, I should spend to get to where I need or whatever. And they should reward us with a game that works and doesn't have all these bugs. I mean, it hasn't gotten any better from that perspective. And I know we were talking about the pandemic and how that may have affected it, but it's been a year of trying to adjust to pandemic world, and your local bank still delivers its products, or you would dump them, right? And all the companies, any company that does a product like this, you would abandon, right? And somehow we're still playing this game. So they just need to do better, ultimately. I'm glad they're making this much money, but it should not be a victory lap. And it should be more a doubling down on improving, especially with everything that's going on.
Yep, agreed.
Whew.
Yeah, so that was very interesting read. I think we've talked about it in the past. There's a Save MSF movement going on, and they've basically said Scopely isn't even talking to them anymore. So to me, it seems like the only thing that's really going to work is a full-on spending boycott, and I just don't know if the player base would actually unify to do that. There was a call for that during Fix MSF, and then Cyclops came and everybody forgot about it. But right now we've got Surfer, people buying Surfer like crazy. So it'll be interesting. We're at a very strange point in the game. There's 3 new meta teams out there that we can't farm: Axemen, and I'm drawing a blank here. The X Factor team, and then Shadowlands.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a ton of characters that are supposed to be meta, which we can't farm. The only way you can get them is putting out money. And so I'm really struggling right now, motivationally wise, because of all this kind of stuff. But I will say it should be very interesting next month. The course of the next 4 weeks should be very strange and interesting to see if they're making this kind of money. They continue not to deliver quality. What happens to the community? How do they react to that? So, from my perspective, I've given up on being a number 1 in arena and doing that. I'm probably consolidated now to at best top 20, because I'm not buying Surfer. I've not spent thousands of dollars to buy orange mats so I could get to Doom and all that. So I feel like it's the beginning of the end for me in terms of that, and it's overall they continue to assault the free-to-play player.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. Something you mentioned caught my attention about the Cyclops situation, right? And I don't think I would have ever bought him anyway, but whatever it is, he's still not leveled up for me, right? Because of a sequence of events of all the mutants that came out and all that stuff. So think about that for somebody like me that has spent some money and that Cyclops is still in the hole all this time. The same thing is going to happen with Surfer, right? I mean,
oh yeah,
you don't even have him. I have him at 3. I may get him to 4 if I do decide to spend any on this ridiculous strike pass. And then it's probably going to sit there for who knows how long. And You feel it. I mean, how long did Cyclops come out? And I still don't have a functional Cyclops. I mean, this is crazy if you really think about it. How
Yep.
the effects of missing on one thing could be so long lasting. I don't know how a new player does it though, and they must be getting new ones to make this kind of money. This can't be all supported by the top 2% or 5% of the game. So,
Agreed. Well, I mean, they did make Surfer, so if you spend a little, you are getting value in Surfer. You spend $20, and if you're a brand new player, you can be
I know.
doing raids with Surfer. I mean, so it's an interesting perspective, but it's clear that they are only listening to spenders and only arcading to that. So I won't go too far down that rabbit hole because I'll get myself all worked up. But so that was very interesting things that have come out. The other piece is, we keep calling for Red Star changes, character release milestone or character release method changes, and every time we ask for something, we get actually something worse. And so the Strike Pass now, we're going to get characters unlocked at 2, whereas every other mode we can get them at least 4 pretty easily, and you can only spend money to get them higher. So it's very, very strange for me at this point. But let's move on, Fred. So we had some other things come out in the blog post that also did not make me very happy, and that is the arena store changes.
Oh boy. This was the picture looks so exciting, right? And the idea that, oh, Scream, Red Guardian coming to the arena. Awesome. We'll be able to finally, I mean, Scream is like 10 years old since it came out. So let's recap exactly what happened. So the first thing is they're continuing their trend of how to make training mats more available, and for 500 arena credits you'll be able to buy 20 L3 training mats. Now L3 are the purple, not the gold ones. I haven't done any numbers here. Did you know if this is good value? Like, does it equate to 5 character shards?
To me, it's not enough.
It doesn't sound like enough. Sounds kind of expensive, yeah.
So I always view opening a Kingpin orb, which costs $675, that I should get at least 7 of the gold mats, and that's a 4x. So 7 times 4, 38. So we're getting, it's maybe in line with that. But I was hoping for better.
Yeah. Anyway, Kingpin is getting replaced, so that's good because who needs to get Kingpin from there since he doesn't get used anywhere. There's a new orb, and they're also increasing the cost from $675 to $800. Okay, so what's in the orb? Why the increase in cost? Well, they're restructuring the store and the different costs for characters. So when a new character gets added to the arena, it's gonna be like the Blitz edition. They started out with Rescue, and who's there now? Domino, is that right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So the character will be exclusive to the orb when it first gets added. Okay, so you can't farm them directly, just like Rescue was and Domino was. We have no idea about exactly what else is in the orbs or the odds. We'll be analyzing that when this comes out, which kudos again, they gave a date. I think it is Wednesday, right? The 21st?
Yep.
I think they did say that, so good for them on the date, keeping that trend. So we'll find out exactly what the percentages are, but very similar to that way of Domino where you, instead of just being able to buy, you need to open. Okay. Then if you try to purchase them directly, so the way it's going to happen, so you get a new character in, and then there's going to be, so the first character in there is Scream. So she'll be there on the orb for 800 that you open, and you can get some chance of some orbs. We don't know what it is. Once let's say the newest character comes after Scream is Longshot, right? Longshot replaces Scream. Scream makes it into the store. And you're thinking to yourself, well, awesome, 500 for Scream. Now I can really farm her quick to get to 7-star. Well, not so fast. The moment they put her on the store, it's not going to cost 500. It's not going to cost 800. It's going to cost 1,250 arena credits.
Good
for
grief.
5 shards. 1250. Hear that again. It's like 2.5 the current cost for 5 shards that you get now for 500. And there's no change to the rewards, right? So if you are rank 1 in Arena Creative, do you know how many credits you get?
1250 or 1300, something like that.
1150. It's not even enough.
Well, I was counting in the daily objective that you get that too.
I mean,
so you get 250 for that plus being number 1. You could make 1 purchase a day if you are number 1 in Arena. This is ridiculous.
How many shards are there? There's no way anybody can do that. I mean, you can stockpile, or you can buy one every couple. If I don't know the rest of the structure, but you can buy 5 Scream every couple days. It's gonna be a slow farm.
This is so freaking bad.
So that's the top end, and then they go into this cryptic thing about newer character, different costs. But one other thing that they did announce is to kind of showcase this system already. They're gonna put Red Guardian straight into the store, direct purchase for the 1250. So imagine that he was in the orb and came out, and it's already in the store, and then Scream is the replacement. Which is, it's kind of in reverse order, right? Because Red Guardian is newer. Is that right? He came out after Scream.
Correct.
But anyway, that's fine if they decided to do that. So 1250 for Guardian or 800 for this orb are your choices. We'll have to see what's worth it based on the drop rates and whatever else is in the orb. This is okay, so then they said, okay, after that little system, newer characters are going to still be 500. Then there's going to be the older characters are going to go to 350. And then the minions will go to 250. So that lower end, I feel like maybe that's a okay move for if you're a newer player, so you can scale up. But this part about the top end, I mean, what a disaster. I mean, why would it be 2.5 times, almost 3 times as expensive? Like, I don't understand. Like, maybe double? No, just to make
it's almost 3.
Yeah, just to make it a little bit more insulting. If we're gonna triple it, what?
I couldn't get over this when I read this. I mean, this is a big middle finger to the player base again. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, the farm of these used to be a joy, right? The arena store. Now it's a pain for a new character, like, because it's going to take forever. We got to redo all our calculations just to see. But we're talking about 5 shards every couple days, right? That's just crazy.
I mean, does it equate to like farming? Maybe
it's not even farming at that point. I mean, jeez. I mean, good gracious.
So anyway, this we'll see everything when it's revealed. But I think they need to either fix the reward structure so we get more credit somehow, or I don't know why they went with these numbers. It just seems increasing, unnecessarily punishing at the top end, especially.
Oh, you know why they do it? Because we all have a bunch of arena currency, and they don't want us to have any currency. They want us to spend money. I mean, just...
Can you buy arena currency? How do you get more?
I don't know, actually. I'll have to look at that.
I mean, only improving your roster so that you can be number 1 by slingshotting and stuff. I mean, anyway, let's not go down this rabbit hole, but... We'll have a full evaluation once it officially comes out. It sounds like Creative is giving it a F-.
Yep.
I'm at like a D. It's pretty, especially at the top end. The only saving grace is the lower end if you're starting out. It also depends where they draw the line. And does it mean that when the next character comes in, Red Guardian goes to 500, or does he stay at 1250 for some arbitrary amount of time that they decide, right? So you have 2 characters at 1250, which that would be just absolutely outrageous, but I wouldn't put it past them.
Well, what's also outrageous is we've got, 2 characters to the store in like the last year?
And then they dump
Swarm and Corvus.
Right.
Blob's been there forever. I mean, so you're basically going to have to farm Red Guardian at 1250 for another year. I mean, good grief.
Why they dumped two at the same time to make this terrible
Even
choice.
worse. Yeah.
And now, yeah, there's no way. But anyway. Okay, creative.
Well,
What else did they announce that you liked?
oh, nothing that I liked, but we'll talk about it. So Surfer was rumored to be going into the raid milestones, his shards. And so that has been confirmed. And he will be in the raid milestones for 15 seasons. So it's every 2 weeks. So basically for a year. So, we have no detail at this point in time. We don't know if he's only going to be in the last milestone, if he's going to be spread all the way out, or if he's just going to be in the last 4 or 5 that only the Kraken alliances can get to. So we certainly suspect the latter.
Mm-hmm.
We hope for shards throughout so that people can actually level this character up that is incredibly broken. But I am, at this point, I may or may not buy the Strike Pass. At this stage, probably not. So I will have a 2 yellow star Silver Surfer. And so just to get him to 5 yellow stars, just 5, I need 260 shards. I would have to get 17 shards in each of the 15 seasons. And so this happens every 2 weeks that we would get these 17 shards. So Frid, I mean, I don't see them being that generous.
No.
I think I'm fully screwed on Surfer just like I am on Yo-Yo.
Right, because then we don't know what will happen to him after that. That's the other thing. But I think if you don't spend any money, which it sounds like you're planning to do, you'll have 2, right? Just the 2?
Yep, just the 2.
I mean, we don't even know if that's functional. Have you seen any videos?
No, absolutely not. Yeah, I'll probably take him to DD4 and he'll get cleaned off the map, but whatever.
No, he's pretty ridiculous. I'm sure he'll do fine, but yeah, I have they did not announce this, which normally means a screw job. And do you think we'll know today? It's Sunday, right?
Yeah, I think today's the last day, so we should see
in about 6 hours. We'll find out what this is, and we'll get you the numbers next show. But and if you follow us on Discord, we'll post it there too. But I do have that suspicion. Like, I'm looking at it right now. We are at milestone 34. I don't know that we'll make 35. And it goes to 40. So I bet you it's going to be at that bottom.
Yep.
So then
that's gonna, if nothing else, that will certainly cause an uproar with the community.
If they keep throwing this $20 offer over and over again, that's probably making them 300 million right there. No, I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean. That is going to be a moneymaker. So I think they realize that. So I think you're right. I mean, they're going to throw this at the end of the.
I mean, think about how much money they probably made on Symbiote, Spider-Man, and Emma. Emma hasn't been in the milestones for months. People don't even have an option on her.
Right. This is your whole thing about no farmability on characters. And I mean, I hate to keep pointing to this other game, Disney Sorcerer's Arena, but they always make everything available in a node or some way to some store. Now they do these towers which have character shards. There's a path to get characters, and it doesn't mean I haven't spent a penny on that game. So I have like 1 legendary, right? It's Elsa, and I finally I kept playing. I know you're saying these guys nuts. Casually playing, and I finally unlocked the second legendary, which is Baymax, right? And I'm somewhat in the top 100 of their arena system, and in a competitive alliance. But I can choose what I want to farm. It's available to me. So now I want Hercules, the next legendary. All that's needed is farmable and available. Yet we have this game that has a bunch of characters that are crucial. There's no way to obtain them. And not to say this Disney's perfect, but it's just another way of doing it that gives people a path. And it doesn't feel like all of a sudden, I don't have a path. I need Emma Frost to have a functional Marauder. There's no way to get her. And that's just the way things are, unless you pay. That just seems kind of crazy to me. Like, there should be an offset. Hey, if you want Emma, then you can't do a symbiote because they use the same thing, so you can focus on one first and then the other. But the fact that we don't have a way and his own money, that seems just kind of strange. But clearly, it's working for them. And what are we supposed to do? Not play?
Oh, it's working for them now. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll
I mean that. The long term is hard to tell. These games go through ebbs and flows, but it seems like the community is not being able to affect. We keep clamoring for better product, and we're not getting it. So what's going to happen? We'll find out.
Time will tell. More next week.
Yeah. So if you want to continue the conversation, you can join us on Discord. Remember that public area of the Ragnarok server, which will be linked on the show notes. So you'll get to continue. I popped in there a couple times this week with these numbers and, answer questions. There's some infographics sometimes that we post, so come join us there. You can leave a review for us on the Apple Podcast or any of your favorite apps. We have a Twitter, we have all that stuff, but mainly the Discord and the reviews is the main way to communicate. Anything else creative before we close the show?
Oh, I think we better stop there before I go jump off a bridge.
All right, well, don't do that. It's
just a video game.
It's just a game. We're going to be fine. So we will talk to you guys next week.
Bye-bye.